Tracy.
Checking it out.
I just have
Dr. Ombration.
you drive today? He was rolling, he was running down the road trying to get to his truck. Absolutely.
Sarah.
I think you see my brother.
Yeah, I came straight from the pool.
Oh, you at the pool?
We were just talking.
I thought, when those guys made that subdivision the first time, they waited a long period of time, they came back, and then they restructured again. But I could swear that there was a conservation area or something on the opposite side of the road. Because there was some wetlands over there on that deal.
The conservation area is on the other side.
So it doesn't affect what they're doing. That's true.
Oh, I know, they're gonna replace that as part of the, we've already got a deal. Good question.
Alright, that's good. Y'all ready?
Heat up here. They're gonna mill that down.
That's insane. Now
I think they put it into the.
But I don't.
Well,
Incorporating any work doesn't get it in the project and then say, we're not gonna do it.
That's not my experience.
Yeah.
we call the board meeting to order. The record show all aldermen are present. Alderman Panda will lead us in the invocation. Alderman Burgess in the pledge. Please stand.
May we bow our heads, please. Lord God, we give you thanks for this great community of Ocean Springs. We give you thanks for the freedom to allow us to meet tonight. May our meeting be professional and meaningful and beneficial to all our citizens. Tomorrow, as we begin the Lenten season, may we all show reverence to God and discipline during this 40-day period before we celebrate Easter. God be with us all. God bless us all. For all these things we ask in your holy name. Amen. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda? So moved. Motion by Mr. Lee.
Second.
Blackman, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 3, public hearing. Madison Place Phase 2, PIDN 60124060.000, Elliott Land Development requesting preliminary plat approval of 51 lot subdivision. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second by Mr. Blackman, second by Mr. Cox, all in favor? Was empty? I'm sorry. Motion by Mr. Empey, second by Mr. Cox. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Wade. Wade.
Thank you. The request before tonight is for preliminary plan approval of the Madison Place Phase 2 subdivision. You can see it on the screen there. It's highlighted in the yellow. This is the, as I said, the preliminary plat. This is the stage where the developer, in this case Elliott Land Development, begins the construction of streets, drainage, sanitary sewers, and other parts of the infrastructure. When this subdivision was considered by the Plan Commission, it was at its February meeting, the plat at that time included an extension of Pine Haven Drive, shown there on the screen. At that time, the Pine Haven would connect to Gibson Road, would connect Gibson Road to Lakeview Drive. That was consistent with the previously approved sketch plat of this subdivision. At the Planning Commission meeting, several area residents spoke regarding the extension and voiced their opposition to the connection. Planning Commission members at that time had quite a discussion, a lengthy discussion about the issues associated with the street extension, including the overall connectivity between neighborhoods, fire and emergency access, and the traffic generation issues of it. Now, could you go back to that previous one, try to give you a perspective? There you go. The red line on that, I don't know if you can see it, shows the extension of Pine Haven and how it would connect from Gibson Road to Lakeview, and basically then further south, connecting down to Beagle Boulevard. Thank you. Go back to the. Thank you. As a result of the Planning Commission's discussion, they made a motion, which is referred to in the main agenda item on this report, on this subdivision, to approve the subdivision contingent on the extension of, or the removal or alteration of the connecting road between Gibson and Pine Haven, to be resolved separately if necessary at the time of final plat approval. In response to that, the developer has revised the plan, as you see right there, to design a partial extension of Pine Haven Drive. It includes a hammerhead, shown the highlighted in the pink at the end of it, in place of one lot that, with this, it does allow vehicles to turn around and back up, but it does not provide for that paved extension connection between Gibson Road and Lakeview. So it's coming to you with that recommendation from the Planning Commission, with a recommendation of approval, as you see here. The applicant, Elliott Land, has provided this plan, and we do have Amanda Krause from the Elliott Land Development here. If you have questions for her, to also some other engineers are here also. That concludes my report on. If you have questions, I'd be glad to discuss them. Thank you.
All right, I've got one question. So from the Planning Commission to now, they submitted this amendment and they're asking for this to be approved
That is correct.
as part of tonight?
That is part of the plan that is before tonight.
But wait, I got a question for you. I was on the planning commission when Madison Place got, it's when it got developed. And I remember the developer that was there, he did it, and then he kind of backed away from it for a little while, then he came back, and then Elliott got it. But I could swear that there was a conversation on the planning commission that because of the length of the street on Lakeview and with that last phase they did in the back, with the express homes, that if ever Madison Place was extended, that those two would have to be connected. So I don't know what the argument is today with that part of it.
No, I think Elliott Land has indicated they will do what the Planning Commission wants. And yes, that was discussed at the Planning Commission meeting. The length of Lakeview as a very long, basically cul-de-sac, dead-end street, and the advantages to having the connection, which was, as I said, approved as part of the sketch plat when this was the initial phases, initial approvals of this phase 2.
But since from day one that this has been talked about, that if that's developed, I mean, shouldn't we move forward with that being connected? I mean, I understand that there's people that don't want it, but I mean, all along, that's always been the plan.
That's correct. I mean, it has been a plan all along to make that connection. So all I'd say is that at the Planning Commission meeting, they discussed those items. They heard from the area residents who were as I recall, for the most part, opposed to the connection. And the planning commission, after, like I said, a good bit of back and forth, felt that this, a plan like this, was best, with the possibility that the extension of Pine Haven could occur as part of the final plan. I mean, the right-of-way is still there, as you can see on that, for it to be extended. But they had their discussion, they felt that this was.
I just remembered before we moved forward that we were with that even it was even questionable when they did the last phase on the back of Lakeview that D.O. Horton did with that express subdivision, that this was going to have to be something that was going to happen because of the the length of that street.
Correct. Would you go back to the previous one that?
Carolyn, what were you? No,
Yeah,
you
that it spanned a very long time period, but you're right, it was part of, not necessarily, it was discussed during Madison Place, yes, but also Lakeview. Lakeview is a non-compliant, long cul-de-sac, and it was approved based on this connection.
Yeah, I think you can see it pretty well from there.
Yeah.
Lakeview extends from the Oval Boulevard all the way northward, as basically like a one-way in and out for that entire subdivision.
Otherwise, they would have been required to have a different secondary access point to the highway, and there's no real way to do that, so this was the only option, and that was even started before I was in planning, so it covered a long period, but that's the documentation that I found.
that's a long street.
Mhm.
I mean, what are y'all thoughts on it? I mean, Rob, I think you were on the board planning commission at the time too.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the same thing you did, that it was, part of the requirements that Carolyn said
For Lakeview.
for Lakeview to be platted, final plat was for, when that was developed beyond, they had to connect, so.
That's my recollection, so.
Wade, was there discussion about a gate to be installed, kind of like Seaside?
That was thrown out as
Through
one
it.
option, yes, a gate with a Knox lock or some similar type of device to, the discussion centered around allowing emergency access, emergency vehicles to get through it. And like I say, the gate with the Knox lock was thrown out as one option, but after a good bit of discussion, the planning commission voted, as you saw in their in motion.
I think the motion, the thinking was to have them think about that during the preliminary plating phase and bring it through the planning commission and back to the board at the final plat phase if they deem that's necessary. Of course, y'all are the board and have your own thoughts on what's necessary. So I think Representative from Elliott may clarify, their position, at least from Elliott, on what they deem necessary as to the through road. I'm sure we'll hear from them on that.
Okay.
You can come up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Come on up.
Amanda Probst. Yes, originally the plans were presented for the planning commission to connect. And then at that planning commission meeting is when we heard a lot of opposition. And then after the planning commission's decision, we went back to the plans and had our civil engineer draw what you see, the hammerhead, to take out lot 51 completely and create the hammerhead for the fire truck to turn around. And then we could, at the discretion of you guys, if you want us to do like a gravel road with a Knox box gate, we are okay either direction. We just made these changes after the last planning commission meeting per the conversations with the planning commission. But our plans originally did have the connecting road, yes. We are okay either way.
So the planning commission approved the connecting road or approved this?
This.
This.
I wouldn't say they recommended approval.
Recommended approval,
They
I
never
guess.
saw this. The discussion on the through road was, at least in the preliminary plat recommendation for approval, it would not go forward at this time, and that the developer would, if necessary for the through road, bring that at the final plat. But the preliminary plat would go forward without the construction of the through road just yet, and that would be deemed necessary or not at the final plat stage. If that makes sense.
So y'all are open to, when it gets a final plat, still connect it?
It wouldn't change the boundary.
Yes, it wouldn't change, our wetland permit is already approved, it would not change our wetland permit, and we are open to either suggestion, whether it be removing lot 51 and making the hammerhead, or creating the connecting road, whatever's best for the
It
city.
sounds to me like there's a lot of confusion to have a fire truck in an emergency situation to make a turn and then back up and then go forward again. Yeah.
And forgive me, what were some of the issues for the pushback?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
What were some of the issues, the reasoning for not wanting to make that connection? Are there?
You go ahead. I think Wade could say too, I think it was, more through traffic.
Okay, sure.
I'm sure there are some residents here that will speak to that shortly, but I was at that planning commission meeting, and although there have since been a handful of people that have spoke up for it, 100% of the residents from Lakeview that were there at the planning commission that night were against it.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to push this on nobody. I just know that when we approved this, this was a big discussion before we allowed all this development, that those streets were gonna be connected. So, going backwards off of that, I just wanna make sure that it's on the table.
Yeah, I don't know how to put this other than to say, I don't know how, if Lakeview was non-compliant, why was it approved to begin with without the contingent upon another development? I don't get that.
I'm just saying the conversation.
We have to put together the documentation to explain. There was a lot going on at the time between the two developments, and they should have happened at the same time, but it didn't. And it was an agreement between the two developers at the time, because Lakeview could not find a way to have a required secondary exit into the lane. So that was the compromise that was reached. And like I said, we could put together that documentation. That was back in
It was
12, 14, something like that. It was 10, 11 years ago.
Anything else? Okay, thank you. Wade, do you have anything else?
No, that's, so could you go back to the plan, the original plan that shows the connection, it was in the part of the stormwater plan. They might just be. Yeah, there, okay, that's probably good enough. Yeah, I think that one shows basically the approval of the sketch plan at the time with the connection of High Haven from Gibson to Lakeview.
Okay. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak for or against?
I'm Easy Rider. I reside at 4596 Pine Haven Road. Right at the end of the road, it is to be extended to Gibson if this goes through. I am one of the first people that rose in opposition to the actual connection. I do understand that this was part of the original plan, but the plan has already been heavily altered due to the wetlands considerations. You would have a long stretch with no homes there, and the community is well aware of the issue with first responders being able to move through the neighborhood or having a secondary means of ingress or egress. We're also well aware of the flooding patterns of the area, that if that single entry exit for the neighborhood of Lakeview is ever to be blocked up by flooding, Gibson Road and its low-lying roadway would be flooded far before. So would the roads that allow Lakeview to actually access Pine Haven. So that, in a flooding incident, that would not be of any value. The neighborhood has existed for well over 20 years, and its current configuration, it's never had an issue. That does not preclude the fact that it may not come into existence at some point. But it does illustrate the extreme unlikelihood that a second entry point would be necessary. I also looked at the, I think it's called the UDC, Universal Development Code of the area. I didn't see any requirements, I'm not a professional, it may exist and I just didn't see it, for a second point of ingress and egress for a neighborhood of any particular size. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else would like to speak? Yep.
I'm William Betterton. I have an interest in a home in Pine Haven, on Pine Haven Drive. Sarah, can you go back up to that to show the hammerhead? Okay, that's good right there. See the one house at the very right top on Pine Haven that stands out alone? The property around that's 30 acres of protected wetlands owned by Mississippi Wildlife. You won't develop it. So if that road goes all the way across, it can't go to Highway 57. The planning commission, long discussion with them, voted to approve this with the developer going back and putting that hammerhead in. If you go against that, sure, they knew that road was there from back way before the pandemic. Okay? I counted real quick, 13 subdivisions have one way in and one way out. So all of a sudden, Rick, worried about a fire truck. She had a fire at her house, at that house. Fire truck had no problem getting there and turning around.
My conversation was about a conversation that happened when I was on the planning commission. I was just clarifying that this is the direction that we're going in.
There, in a plan, way back when, there's a lot of roads on plans from way back when that don't have to be there. What is the purpose of that road? There's not one now. For 6 houses, they can go down Gibson, they can come out, they go up Raleigh, they can get out. 13 subdivisions, quick count. Thousands of people are sleeping in a single subdivision to get in and get out. And you're worried about a road across a wetland? Come on, we can do better than this. If you don't believe the planning commission, dissolve it.
It wasn't a matter of believing anybody.
I'm Samantha Bignell. I live at 4703 Pine Haven, which is on the other end of the street as his. So my house, I don't think would necessarily be affected by the flooding that we do think could come into play if we do make a road back there in the wetlands, but it would be impacted by the increased traffic. We right now have a one-way in, one-way out, and that is part of the reason why we kind of bought our house there. We knew that the original plat decades ago had that other exit potentially, but it had been decades and nothing been done with it. So we feel like the increased traffic on our roads that already have some major issues with some crumbling on certain, avenues on the side of the roads and cars parked up and down the whole length of Lakeview Drive. We think that it could be detrimental to the whole neighborhood as well as other issues that we could come into play. There was a hit and run once where a vehicle literally hit a vehicle, went and hid, and they couldn't get out of the neighborhood. There's only one way in, one way out. They were caught. They were arrested. It was a completely shut and open case. We had a house fire at my house in 2019. We had no issues getting multiple fire trucks back there, fighting the fire. My house stands today. We remodeled it, and there was no issues with it being a closed neighborhood. So we really hope that you'll reconsider it, even though it was on the original stuff. The majority of the neighborhood does not want it. So, thank you.
Anyone else who would like to speak for or against? Does anybody else have any more questions?
Can I have one additional statement?
Sure.
I did hold an unofficial Facebook questionnaire on the issue, highlighting the issues of flooding, evacuation, and impact of possible first responders of both having and not having this road. At the time of the planning commission, I got about 19% of the 169 homes that were in the neighborhood of Lakeview to respond. 79% were opposed, and just over 20% were for the road. So although not unanimous, it does give you a better idea of what the community within Lakeview view is on the actual existence of a connection road. Thank you.
Now, this was not just a general, this was the exclusive page for Lakeview, is that correct?
Make a motion to close public hearing, Mayor.
Got a motion by Mr. Cox, close.
Second.
Second by Mr. Blackman. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve or?
Do we have a question? No.
Anybody have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the planning commission's recommendation.
Motion by Mr. Impey,
Second.
second by Mr. Blackman.
Just to clarify, the planning commission's recommendation is not the,
Not to connect the road,
Not
but
to
to hammer
connect.
it in.
yeah, it's not the hammerhead. It's to make the determination at the time of final plat on whether the road connects.
Okay.
Any further comments? Roll call.
Aye.
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 All right.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is agenda public comment. The public is invited to address the board for up to 3 minutes each for a maximum period of 30 minutes only regarding issues listed on this agenda. Please identify yourself. You don't have to give us an address, just identify yourself and the agenda item before speaking.
Good evening, my name is Ibrahim Rose. I am talking tonight about the consent agenda item K.
What item?
Any consent agenda, I'm sorry, item K.
Okay, okay.
It's accepting the municipal growth report, work performed by Slaughter and Associates. I think that there's an error, I might be mistaken, but I think that there's an error in the actual packet. The letter shows that it is in letter format. It's addressed Dear Mayor Holloway. There's no signature page, so it looks like it's cut off. Several people have pointed this out to me at the same time I noticed it as well. So I sent a letter to the city clerk on Friday pointing this out, but haven't heard back. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. And also the memorandum to accept this letter states a total number of $273,000 that has been paid to Slaughter and Associates for this one contract. They have two contracts with the city, but for this one particular contract, $273,000, but the letter doesn't actually state that price on there. I also want to point out that the $273,000 that was paid to Slaughter and Associates was based on a contract that this board approved that had phase one with a maximum estimate of $8,000 to $10,000 and phase two a maximum estimate of $8,000 to $10,000. So worst case scenario, the public was led to believe that this was going to be a $20,000 contract. There hasn't been any more board votes on this, yet this $20,000 contract has been paid out $273,000 with no minutes showing that $250,000 more was approved for this. So I just wanted to point those things out to you, and I don't know if there was a mistake and there are missing pages on that letter that is uploaded to the website, but it certainly appears that way. Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak to an agenda item? Okay. As far as the Slaughter and Associates goes, that was $10,000 to study area one, $10,000 to study area two. Annexation is a lawsuit. You don't know who's going to oppose. It was supposed to be a friendly annexation. When it came down to it, the county opposed it, so then we went into litigation. Litigation at $250, $300 an hour on both sides gets quite expensive. So you don't know where you're going to end up in a lawsuit financially. Unfortunately, there's no contracts that say you're going to spend X amount of money on a lawsuit. So that's how this thing got to that point. If it would have been the friendly annexation that we anticipated, it would have been much less.
Then I think too, it was drug out because of lawsuits, and we have slaughtered numbers of times to redraw the area and change the area. And it's been so long, I've forgotten, there were some questions about fire hydrants, things of that nature that we had to answer. But anyway,
There was a lot involved in it.
It became involved after the lawsuits.
Okay, moving on to new business. Adopt resolution requesting assistance from Jackson County for dredging of waterway. Burgess?
Yes, so we had previously submitted a resolution to designate the waterway, to keep it simple, from Percy Miller Park as you're coming in, and you go that waterway by the Cumberland residents. Their houses butt up onto that waterway.
The one that horseshoes kind of?
Yeah, we designated that as a no-wake zone at the request of the residents. The county has approved that and said that that's done. The next phase was to have that area dredged. A lot of residents have pointed out to me that it's shallow, extremely shallow. They can't get their boats out, they can't get their sea-doos and things like that, and if the tide is in, I'm sorry, it's been a long day. Went to the county, and they are willing to put this on their radar to go and do an assessment to see if it can be dredged, if it should be dredged. And so what this is just asking them to do that assessment.
Okay. Will I make that motion?
Yep.
Okay, motion by Ms. Burgess.
Second.
Second by Mr. Alderman. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, does anybody have anything to pull from the consent agenda? Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Newsom.
Second.
Second by Mr. Blackman. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Anyone have anything to pull from the docket of claims? Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve the docket of claims, Mr. Mayor.
Second. Motion second by Mr. Alderman. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. City Clerk, authorized budget amendments. Does anyone have any questions regarding the proposed budget amendments?
Make a motion to approve the budget amendments, Mr. Mayor.
Motion by Mr. Impey.
Second.
Second by Mr. Blackman. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Discuss possible changes to the UDC 6.13.5 temporary portable storage containers usage in the city. Darrell?
Yes, as of right now, our ordinance has it where they're strictly used for like construction, while you're on the construction, after so many days you remove them. Your house burnt, you gotta have somewhere to store anyway for that type of use moving whenever. I've been approached by a couple of business owners that were actually wanting to use them, put some kind of decorative cladding on it or something to make it look nice, and use them for storage. The building code we're under at the time doesn't reference them, and like I say, the UDC opposes them being used permanent on the structure. One of them that's wanting to use it is actually, Whamma back here has one they're wanting to keep that they were using during the construction, so anyway, not that you have to make a decision, something you may want to think about. It's like anything else, I mean, if you want to restrict it to certain uses, either way it goes, it's still an accessory, it would have to meet the setbacks. But it's just a matter of, would you want them, or do we want them?
I mean, I think the way you wrote it is perfect. I mean, I think, 8 by 20 is the biggest you had on that?
Yeah, I didn't write that.
Well, I read it and I thought it's especially for people that are, that are doing construction and doing their stuff out of their house or if there's a fire or emergency or whatever, So,
but
You're talking about
permanent.
Talking about permanent being used as,
I thought the way it read, it was only.
That's our current.
That's current.
Oh, okay.
currently they're used for like, if you're moving out of the driveway, you load it, they come get it, they leave.
Doesn't the new IRC have a provision for storage containers now?
It does, from what I've read, is, they have to be inspected by with some type of service, they're engineered, they actually have a placard in it that has a manufacturer deal. In other words, like a serial number for that container, and this went through some type of inspections before sold. The one they have looks like something that come from an industrial place that actually used, well, they got a door on it and everything else. So when they bought this thing or got it, however they did it, it actually was already done, and complete to where all they had to do was just use it. There was no modifying it.
When are we moving forward with that code?
Well, I'm working on it now, hopefully late spring, early summer, we should be there.
Some other cities must have already started on that code book because some other cities are already doing it.
Yeah, but with that said, even if we adopt a code, you still gotta ask yourself, do you wanna move in that direction? Is this something you want? Do you wanna allow residents to have the same building sitting in their backyard? That's kinda where I'm just leaving it out.
Right.
On how you wanna handle it, how you know, so we can kinda have an idea. I mean, if we didn't want it, I could easily omit it from the code. But it's, you know, and if we don't have it with the code, we can just put it in an ordinance.
I think some of this is driven too, because you know, Gulfport at their sports complex, they have the bathroom and concession as container boxes, and it looks good. So I think what we're getting at is, maybe you don't want these residential, then maybe you allow them commercial or public use. So we could have that door open for bathrooms or concessions that aren't easily vandalized too.
Sounds like we need to put a little more thought in.
Yeah. Maybe even a conditional use for where you put them. Anyway, but so you just wanted to float
Just
below it up, right?
throw it out there
Yeah.
where y'all can just bounce it around and figure it out later.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eric.
Next item on the agenda is general public comment. Public is invited to address the board for up to 30 minutes each, maximum 30 minutes. Only 2 speakers will be allowed per side of each issue. Please identify yourself clearly at the podium before speaking.
Good evening. James Lewis, 805 Cambridge Drive. I'm concerned about the new, I think Elliott Homes may still be the one that's dealing with the Hanshaw subdivision here. That's right across for 2 subdivisions. And you all had a study, and I went back in and went up to the planning, and the study, traffic study says over 9,000 vehicles use Hanshaw Road every day. And I don't know how many houses are going in here, but how many houses, you gotta go back in and take that and double that 2 cars per household that you're looking at. The question is, I've seen pipes go down. I don't know who's putting it, is the county putting them in, or the city's putting them in down Hanshaw Road? They went back in and broke a water line, and we have a problem in our subdivision, and didn't have water for almost 24 hours. The question is the road gonna be done first? And they talk about replacing the bridge, the little small bridge that was there. Who's gonna foot the bill for that? Where's the money coming from? We need to know what we're doing, how we're gonna do it, and who's gonna pay for it. That's the question on that subdivision. Mayor?
This, Mr. James, you know this is for advisement only, take under advisement only. We don't
I
go
understand.
back and forth with this
No,
thing.
no, I'm not talking about back and forth. I'm just asking, the simple question is that, the key thing is, we got a road there, we got the middle school there, we got the wetlands there, north of where that little small bridge is going back in and putting a subdivision there. I don't know how many houses are gonna be there, but the key thing is that you all got a study. And it's over 9,000 vehicles travel that road every day.
Currently, we're working on Dina and Riley, and that would be the next road that would be addressed.
Thank you.
Excuse me, sorry.
I submitted a public records request, and so did another resident, almost identical. We were asking for documents showing an actual contract or agreement between the city and the city attorney. Mine specifically asked for the contract. The other gentleman asked for all authorizing documents, including minutes, etc. The only document that was provided by the city in this public records request was a partial contract that expired in the year 2016. It did not include a signature page, meaning there's no record on file, I guess, that the contract was ever executed. It also referenced attachments in there that were not included in the records request. And there were no amendments, no renewals, no extensions. There were no minutes provided to either of us from meetings authorizing the arrangement of any kind. So this leaves us with two possibilities. Either the city attorney is working and being paid without proper authorization from this board of aldermen and the mayor, or the city is not providing public records requests to its residents. So I'm here to respectfully ask which one that is.
Yeah, Mayor, if I may, I can address some of this. I saw your follow-up to your records request asking for minutes. That's the first time I saw minutes. I have sent some minutes to the clerk's office. I think they'll get them out to you tomorrow. Dating back to, I believe, 2017 and a couple of years prior, they're related to that 2013 contract you're referring to. But I'm not sure, are you asking for them to sign a new contract? I know the board has moved to interview an in-house city attorney.
No, that's not what I was asking. I was asking if a contract actually existed, or if there was
The contract was sent to you, and minutes will be sent to you.
The contract was...
Three sets of minutes are subsequent to those related to that contract, which we have continued under since, I think, 2013 under the same rates. So
was the contract executed without a signature? Because there's no signature page.
Sir, I've sent you the contract, I've sent you the minutes, as I've said, and that's really all I have to say about it, Mayor.
Thank you. So the contract that was sent is incomplete. There's no signature page. The attachments aren't included. So when somebody does a public records request, you would expect that the contract would have the signature of the people that executed it, as well as the attachments. So I know Mr. Norman just said that he sent the contract, but it's an incomplete contract. And I have addressed the city clerk, but I had not heard back. Apparently, Mr. Norman is going to send the minutes, which I appreciate, Mr. Norman. But the contract is not complete. I mean, if a contract's not signed by the city and not signed by the other party, then it's not a contract. Thank you.
Does anyone else like to address the board? Yes, sir.
My name is David Hayden, and I live at 3835 Shawmut Circle. I just got a question. We just got notice today about the bridge closure on Hanshaw. And James was talking about our plans to widen Hanshaw Road once Dina and Riley Road is done. We're looking down the road. If they rebuild this bridge, can it accommodate the widening of Hanshaw Road? I think that's important. If they're going to rebuild that bridge, it does not need to be at the current width.
No, David, when the bridge is rebuilt, it will be wider. It will be a wider road, bridge. Yes. Anybody else? Okay. Moving on, since the bridge was mentioned, I'll go ahead and explain to y'all how this bridge incident happened. We received a letter yesterday from the Office of State Aid and Road Construction, and they had this bridge inspected annually for the past several years. We were not aware of the condition of the bridge because we never got one of those inspections. So when this letter came, it was quite a surprise to us, so that the bridge was in that kind of condition. Currently, we don't have any option at hand other than to close that bridge. In the meantime, we'll be working with the county, we'll be working with the state to see what our options are, to reopen it up, or to replace it, or to repair it. It'll be a top priority for us, because we know how busy that road is. It's an artery, not only for the city, but for the county itself, Gulf Park Estates and Fountain Blue area, a lot of traffic on it, has been stated. So that is, Sarah and I have been dealing with this bridge all day today and most of yesterday. And we'll continue to work towards getting some answers. Hopefully we get some positive news. We haven't had much positive news or any positive news out of this situation yet, but we're going to work to see what, like I said, what our options are. We will keep everybody informed, especially Alderman Blackman and Alderman Cox, who represent that area. And myself will communicate as much as we can, as quick as we can. So.
Mayor, if you don't mind, while you're on that subject, can we go ahead and make a form of a motion requesting assistance from the county to at least help us get either temporary use of the bridge or move forward, give us assistance moving forward, working toward a permanent fix in whatever way necessary.
I'll second that motion, Bobby, as I spoke to Troy right before this meeting with the county and, asking him please to give us whatever help he could as a temporary fix to open the bridge back up as soon as possible, at least with limited weight restrictions or something along that line. So that's where we're at now, and I agree we need to send something over officially asking that from the county.
Okay, I got a motion by Mr. Cox, second by Mr. Blackman, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries. I don't know who to ask if we have anything. Raven's not here anymore. It's like a war back there right now. But anyway, I don't have anything else. I just jumped ahead there, so I figured let's straighten that out. Alderman Burgess.
Just a couple of things. Gerald, I've got, we'll get together on my work orders, but in the meantime, rod and reel, we're really waiting on those no dumping signs to go up. I think Alan confirmed that y'all have them, but we just need to get them up as soon as possible if we can.
Rod and reel?
Rod and reel.
Did we just put up dump here signs?
Yeah, that was a private citizen, still trying to figure out how that happened.
I'm glad we do that.
But we're gonna do no dumping signs.
What, you putting dump here signs on?
No, they had
Well, it was dumped
for dumping.
It was done.
Yeah.
So are we taking those out?
Yes,
They were
those
there.
have been taken
Boy,
out.
they didn't put 'em
They're gone.
Well,
So we need.
Oh, by the way, also, when you're talking about dumping, by Miss Marion's house, what is that? Next to Freedom Field, we had a no dumping sign by that parking lot. And the sign was torn down, we put another one up, and now it's missing again, so we need to stick another one up there, I guess. Anyway, sorry about that, Jennifer.
That's all right.
Popped into my mind.
So there's that, and that Bristol median has a meter lid that's got a big hole in it. It's kind of a safety issue if you can look at that and get a new lid for that. Stephen, we talked about John Gill Park. We're gonna get that meter.
One way or another.
I know, if you can call Joff and I'll follow up as well so that we can get those gates done. And do those springs come in?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, Scott has a work order in for that. We'll get that done this week.
And can we get an ETA on that championship signage at 57?
I have a supervisor's meeting in the morning. I'll email you after I have that meeting.
Okay, perfect. And last, I'm sorry, Sarah, the Ocean Springs Road, the King Henry sign, can you please get with me on an ETA on, at this particular point, we just need to shift it, but also getting the planter rebuilt on that, and then I'll follow up with you some of the other aesthetic parts of it. Okay, I'm done.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Good.
I just want to say one thing, Chief Doc, with this bridge being out, we're going to have a lot of traffic through residential neighborhoods. Knapp Road's fixing to get a lot more traffic. 57 South is going to get a lot more traffic. Let's keep an eye on that as far as speeding and,
It's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad here, y'all know, so you know the drill, just let's keep an eye on those areas and get some extra patrol in there.
Well, and I'm sorry too, I do want to thank OSPD. Y'all have been doing a bang-up job on Ocean Springs Road. Y'all have been smashing it, so thank you very much for enforcing that 25 mile per hour. And now we gotta get the golf carts off the pedestrian back.
But that's what I've got, and just ask the public, just be patient with us, we're working this, you know, we just got word last night, and we've all been on the phone all day with this, trying to get a resolution, so bear with us, we'll get it resolved.
Speaking of Ocean Springs Road and the sidewalks, do we have a plan for bollards at the ends of those sidewalks yet? Because until we do, you're not gonna keep these golf carts. We have signage up, they blow right past it. They're gonna continue to do it until we prevent them from doing it.
Sarah and I have talked about it. We have, it's one of those things where it's like, I would prefer not to have to spend that money if I don't have to. To your point though, I mean, I think it's more right now at this particular point, there's some people don't understand that they can drive on the road. Because the narrative and the message had been sent for so long that they were not going to be allowed on the road, that I still think there's a little bit of a disconnect. So I think maybe getting some more information out and pushing that out, they'll come around.
So we've planted some bollards next door if we need to take a.
Well, and that's what I was gonna say, I don't like spending money either, but we spent a lot of money on this project and a lot of money on those sidewalks, and I don't wanna see them destroyed because people are driving down there with golf carts or whatever. But, I think that's something we need to look at.
Take Ricky's bollards and put a couple of those.
Might as well.
Getting used down here, huh?
The mayor brought up Dina Road. What is the latest on Dina? Sarah, I didn't have a chance to talk to you earlier.
We got an email yesterday from NDOT saying that their consultant has, revised a couple sheets and we're supposed to get them this week.
Okay. There's an issue with the, between Dina Road and the Highway 90 expansion project, just for the public. We're trying to work that out. As soon as it's worked out and MDOT issues a permit to tie into the highway, the bid package is ready to go, the money's in the account, and Dina Road will go out for bids. Thank you to Coca-Cola. There was a post done this week. We had the ribbon cutting for the new marquee and electronic sign out at the Highway 57 Sports Complex. Always a good partnership with Coca-Cola. The sign is fantastic if you haven't seen it. Like Steven said at the ribbon cutting in the past, we've had people drop right by 57 because the sign was not that visible, but now we've got a big electronic sign. You can see it for miles, especially at night. So we appreciate Coca-Cola and their participation in that. And today wraps up Mardi Gras. I just want to say again, between the day and night parade, thank you to our public works crew. They were Johnny on the spot cleaning up. Thank you to our police and fire, all our first responders. They did a great job handling the parades this year, especially the night parade. Man, the night parade, it was packed. Chief, you said earlier it really couldn't have gone much better. And our police department is always on top of it. They left extra officers downtown after the parade just to make sure things continued smoothly. Mr. Blackman, I think, when he was on the police department, years ago, when I was on the police department, we worked those parades. It is not an easy job, and I do not envy these guys having to get out there in this crowd, but they do a fantastic job every year. That's all I've got in there. Oh, I'm sorry. Late breaking news here, I've been handed a, I'm sorry, Vicki. Motion to authorize out-of-state travel for employee number 1843 to attend professional training at the National Fire Academy in Emmitsburg, Maryland from April 5th to 12th, 2025.
Motion by Mr. Hippie. Second, who's that? Kevin. Second by Kevin. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Okay, I'm officially through that.
Mayor, I just have a couple things. The signs we ordered for Ocean Springs Road, have they been ordered, the electronic?
I was gonna text Alan, I don't know if Carol knows, I gave them the account number and him and Monica was driving that.
Because we definitely need to get those.
I will email them
And also on Hanshaw Road, if you remember the mess we had before when that road was closed, when people turn off the highway and they don't know, and it creates a issue where everybody's going down, turning around, trying to come back out. So can we get the lit up sign from the fire department set out by the highway saying no through traffic? Do we still have that, Chief?
Public Works.
The lit up sign? And set it there by the gas station on the highway to let people know the bridge is out.
I want to say whenever that main sewer pipe, when they had to be replaced.
That's when it was.
I want to say they had that sign out that work.
Yeah.
Okay. I need a motion to go into closed session to determine the necessity of going into executive session.
So moved.
By Mr. Cox, second by Ms. Burgess, all in favor?
Aye.
We're going into closed session. It won't take long if we can get back there pretty quick before this rain comes.
Yeah, we're gonna do that, we're gonna get flooded. What's going on?
Motion made by Mike Gimpy, seconded by Kim Papania to remain in executive session to discuss personnel in the fire and police department.